We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. Hope all of you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. My home field apparel shirt is in. LSU apparel. Gotta love it. So many things not to talk about, like Lance Hurd not being in Tampa. Why is he not in Tampa? Will he enter the portal? Will he not enter the portal? We talk about that here tonight. We got to talk about LSU, Wisconsin, because this is the last time you and I are going to talk until before, I should say, LSU plays their last game of the season. So last time we'll talk about this year's football team and prepare for a game. We do that here tonight. We'll give you our keys to victory. We may do them before, may do them after Carter Bryant leaves, and regardless of when it happens, we will give you our 5 keys to victory here tonight. Speaking of Carter Bryant, weren't able to do a show on Monday because of the holidays. Does not matter, though, because our man's going to be joining us here at 7:30. We'll talk all things LSU. What does they think about Lance Hurd? He's talked to Lance Hurd. So, going to be a good show. Got tons to talk about. We'll go around your SEC. There's some new changes in the guard around the league. Nico Iamaleava, or however you say his last name, will be, I'm just going to call him Nico, but he will get his first start for Tennessee. Yeah, tons and tons and tons and tons to talk about. Michael Morse, though, sends in a $4.99 super chat. Yes, if you do have questions, thoughts, concerns, the easiest way, and I don't want to say the only way, but the easiest way to get your questions, thoughts, concerns read is to fire in a super chat, because we'll read all of those. But sends a $4.99 super chat, says, what if Lance Hurd, or what is up with Lance Hurd not making the bowl trip? Should we be concerned that we'll lose him? We'll talk about that right out of the break. And yes, you should be. 1,000% you should be. I'm going to have to start clipping these things, because when was the last time we did a show? Tuesday? Please go back. Please, God. I think it was midway through the show. Please, dear God, go back and watch Tuesday's show, when I legitimately, my lard ass paws came out here and said, there are going to be guys that may hit the portal that you're not even expecting. Come on, dude. Come on. All right. Nevertheless, yes, I do think that you should be worried about it. And if you want to read a great write-up, I did a write-up today. Going to continue to fire stuff inside of the forum, ayssnetwork.com. You can go find my real big-time intimate thoughts on that. And yeah, I look, we'll talk about it. Adam says, tell Carter he better cut the check. Yeah, he should. He better. I don't know what that means, but yes, he should. Trenton says, bro, love your show the best. Asked a couple of times, you think Walker Howard regrets leaving LSU? Trenton, thank you so much, man. Thank you for being here with us. I'm sure he does, especially with possibly Jackson Dart coming back. Yeah, I think he regrets it. I think he regrets it pretty heavily. But look, man, they have a really good football team. And if Lance Hurd goes in the portal, are you 1,000% sure that he doesn't go to Ole Miss? They're spending boatloads of money, dude, in the portal. There's just no other way around it. Jared Roach says, need them DBs to show out in the bowl game. That is true, my friend. We really do. I love this. Jared A., 504, but currently in the 251 Mobile, Alabama stand-up. Good to have you in here, Jared A. Yeah, where is everybody listening to us from tonight? Kenneth Harris Jr. says he's in Memphis, Tennessee, in the building. Kenneth, I forget this. Collierville. I was going to say, I forget where my in-laws lived. My father-in-law, God rest his soul, before he passed, he was in Collierville, I think is a suburb of Memphis. So, yeah, good to have you in here, man. Always. I think, what is it, the 901? The 901's in the building. Mark Chasson says he's in Ponchatoula. Good to have Ponchy in the house. TJ Finley, Texas State. See, man, can I just tell you something? it made me think about this with Ponchatoula. Did y'all see TJ Finley the other day for Texas State? Man, kid looks completely different, dude. Sometimes you just got to let young players develop. Like, we got to stop with this microwave-ass society that we live in. Did you not watch TJ Finley? Jesus H. Christ. Kid was lighting it up. I know it's against Rudy Putek. I don't care that it's against Rudy Putek. He was making great decisions. Willie King says, checking in from Forney, Texas, not to be confused with Horny, I'm sorry, Willie, I'm sorry. Horny, Texas, but he says, by the way, of the Port City, the 3-1-8, the 3-1 great. All right, my bad. My bad. Paul Frank says he's in Ville Platte. I've told y'all before, man. 337 in the building. I dated a girl from Ville Platte. No, sirree. No, sirree, Bob. That's the most whitest thing I've said in a while. No, sirree, Bob. That's a white thing to say. But she was as crazy. I mean, man, she could be as mean as a copper-headed snake. I tell you what, boy. Ooh, woo. Them girls from Ville Platte ain't no joke. Jason Brumfield says, you know who I didn't see play was Jacoby Matthews. Says somebody coming home. Got to write up on that in the forum, ayssnetwork.com. We'll see. Talk to some people around. Speaking of Ponchatoula, talk to some people around Ponchatoula today. You can go read that on the forum. Ed Reeder, good to have you in here, Ed. It says, hashtag Ask Blake, will bowl games become pay to play? They already are. Some of them, they already are. But, I mean, look, man, thank you so much, Ed, for the super chat. Look, man, I just don't – like, I know that we want the bowl season that we had when we were kids. A lot of us were kids. It doesn't matter anymore. It's over. Like, we're just going to have to get over it. It's over. It will come back a little bit with the playoff, right? Like, you'll come back for the 12 games that you'll have. Isn't it 12 games? Yeah, 12-team playoff. So what? Or no, I don't know how many games you'll have in total. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But you'll have 6, then you'll have 4, and then you'll have the 2. Yeah, so 12 or 13 games you have, whatever it is. I think it will get more intense once you have a 12-team playoff, but no, man, I don't. I just don't think it's going to matter. Don't think it's going to matter. Jason Brumfield says, Tackett Curtis, ? Hearing anything on him? I just don't know. I talked to somebody, a source today about Tackett Curtis. I know that there was a report that was put out about Tackett Curtis and LSU showing, and I'm quoting here, immense interest. They are not. They 1,000% are not. I don't think LSU has contacted him, and I don't know if they will contact him. Now, that doesn't mean that let me preface this by saying that's not to mean that they won't at a later date. That's not to say that he won't ever be a Tiger. But as of right now, I asked about this yesterday, and I was literally told no, we have not talked about him. That they love Devon Keys, they love Xavier Atkins, they love Tylen Singleton, and they love the guys that they have in that room right now. Like, they love Weeks. They love Greg Penn. So, Tackett, if Tackett wants – I just got to be real with you, man. If Tackett comes here, I don't think that he starts. Like, guys, when we do Ruffino and Joe show, okay, so we do – before I come on this show on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesdays, we do a national college football show. By the way, we started it a year ago today, which I hope all of you go over there and subscribe. Okay? But unfortunately, I had the very strong displeasure of watching a lot of USC games. Tackett was not that good, man. If Tackett were to come here, if he did come here, okay, he's going to have to sit. He can be a rotational piece, maybe, but I don't think that they're going to do that. I'm being told they're not going to do that. So yeah, they're going to have to make a decision there. Jared A with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Jared. If you do have another comment, we'll try to get them in here. But if you can, send your comments in here with the super chats. Thank you, Jared A and Ed, for those super chats. C King 985, where we don't take bribes. I'm assuming he's talking about what we're going to talk about out of the break. And that's Lance Hurd, and he's not wrong. All right, let's get to it. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share if you're on Facebook. Like, share to those groups, share to your own social media pages. It helps us grow. We're putting a lot of content on Facebook. If you haven't liked the page, follow the page. You should do so already. Do so right now. We're dropping reels like it's hot. Call me Snoop Dogg. Drop it like it's hot. It's in the crib. I'll drop it like it's hot. So many reels, so much content on Facebook. Doing the same on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. So about our good friends over at BetOnline, our good friend Tyler Alexander over at LPT Realty. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot to discuss. Is Lance Hurd leaving? We talk that next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
We're back. So I just tweeted this out because currently Kansas State is in a game, and I just clicked it off. I don't know why. But Kansas State is playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl right now, okay? And I'm going to put this comment in. Tell me in the comments right now. Right now, I want to know in the comments. 15 minutes into the show. 15 minutes in. I want to know, what is your favorite Pop-Tart? See, I'm a big brown. It's going crazy on social media right now. Oh, my favorite. The best Pop-Tart is this. Am I the only one? Am I the only one who thinks the brown sugar Pop-Tart is the most elite Pop-Tart that's ever been made? I don't want the chocolate fudge. I don't want no damn blueberry paws. I don't have strawberry. Talk about overrated. Okay. And then you got the Rudy Poo ass Pop-Tart known as s'mores. Okay. Don't even get me started on s'mores. Dog, brown sugar. It's where it's at. Do not convince me otherwise. With a glass of milk, All right, maybe I went too hard on the strawberry. The hot frosted strawberry, okay. Blueberry, ugh. You know who's not going to be eating blueberries at LSU football ops anytime soon? That's Lance Hurd. So in case you missed it, LSU former, and I guess still technically current, former five-star current LSU tackle Lance Hurd hit the transfer portal. Or let me back up. Did not hit the transfer portal. I'm thinking about Pop-Tarts, and I'm just talking out of my ass. Let's reset. yesterday it was reported that Lance Hurd, the former 5-star tackle, would not be with LSU, or is not currently with LSU in Tampa, and then he will be sitting out of the bowl game. So rumors started running rampant, some sourcing behind it, and some people like myself and others said what they had heard. And I'm here to just tell you, I'm hearing a lot of the same things you are. I've not been told that it's great. I have not been told that it's an injury. Those are the two biggest things. And quite honestly, I don't know if I don't want it to be a grade. Like maybe you got an F in English 101. I don't know, because if he did have an academic issue, he wouldn't be leaving and going anywhere, and you could fix that come next fall. We literally saw John Emery do that exact same thing. And it's also very difficult for a freshman not to be academically eligible in their first semester. Look, today's college football is a completely different world with the transfer portal the way that it is, and which is my opinion, the transfer portal being arguably the biggest problem in all of this is because guys can transfer at any given moment. Guys, you can be a high school player right now, and in the first 3 years of your college career, if the 2-time now that has been passed transfer rule goes into effect, guys, you legitimately could play for 3 teams in the first 3 years of your college career. No, I don't think that that's a good thing. It's not a good thing for the sport. I do think that Lance Hurd falls into listening to people that I'm not going to say that he shouldn't. You know, like, who am I to say that he's not playing the game that everybody else does? Coaches get to play it. Everybody else gets to play it. But God forbid when a player does it, oh, he's selfish or a scoundrel. I'm not going to come out here and do that. I'm just not going to do it, because there's no set rule on how this game is played. Now, with all of that being said, even though I literally just said I don't hate it, there's got to be some accountability that gets back into college football. There's got to be some accountability of, I understand that there may be something that you want in NIL. There may be something that you want to have accommodated to you. But there could also be a situation where you're a coach, a head coach, and you're a university like LSU is, or Louisiana State is, I should say, because university, you get what I'm saying, that they're not going to be strong-armed, and neither should they be strong-armed into being into a situation where you demand something and I want it and I want it down, especially from a guy who, quite honestly, let's call it what it is, had his opportunity to make his way into the starting lineup and had some issues with penalties and other things. Miles Frazier comes back into the fold, and he plays really well. Out of injury, Emory Jones comes back. It started a game. Played and started a game. Played really well. Lance Hurd did really well. He's going to be a really good player. Really good player. He's an NFL guy. It would seem that maybe he thinks that his worth is more than maybe some are willing to say here. But, guys, I got to be honest with you. In the past, this would be a massive blow for LSU. In the past, if a guy like Lance Hurd went into the portal, didn't play, didn't want to play, wanted to go somewhere else, this would be devastating for LSU. It'd be devastating if this were the regimes of Les Miles and Ed Orgeron. Under Brian Kelly and the way that Brad Davis is recruiting, do I want Lance Hurd to be an LSU Tiger for his entire career? Yep, I do. I'm not going to sugarcoat that point. What I'm also going to say to you, too, is, hey, man, you got a five-star kid in Weston Davis coming in. You have recruited better along the offensive line than honestly and arguably any position group at LSU. It's a Brian Kelly staple. It's something that we talked about, like, hey, man, if Brian Kelly can bring the offensive line recruiting from Notre Dame to LSU, an area that LSU has struggled in. with the receivers and the weapons that you know that you will, not if, but that you will get at LSU, they can be dangerous. Oh, wait, we did see that because look what they literally just did in year 2 under Brian Kelly. Now, I know Malik Neighbors is not a guy that he recruited. Neither is Brian Thomas. Jaden Daniels is. The Heisman Trophy winning quarterback is. Oh, and by the way, man, you have guys like Will Campbell and Emory Jones who I don't know if yet Emory Jones can be a first-round pick, but he's trending that way. Guys, look at the draft picks that you have along that offensive line. I think DJ Chester is a young up-and-comer. I talked to a source yesterday, and he told me how far and how good a guy like Tyree Adams has been and the progression that he's made. And I will back that up mainly due to the fact that I was out there last week at practice and saw Tyree Adams with my own eyes look like a prototypical left tackle in the NFL. I want Lance Hurd to be here. I 100% want Lance Hurd to be here. But if he doesn't want to be here and he wants to go somewhere else, if there is a team out there that would pay him more than LSU, and LSU does not want to be strong-armed and show the locker room that you can just make demands and get what you want. And there's a fine line here too, right? Like there's a fine line for a coach like Brian Kelly if a player or really just any coach, but if a player goes into an NIL discussion, demands something, that you don't lose the locker room. Guys, that's what happened at A&M. Want to know why guys like Billy Lucci are on Twitter getting body bagged by guys like Sherman Wilson? It's literally due to the fact that they lost the locker room when they signed their own class. Hey, man, there are teams out there right now like Ole Miss that will pay you whatever you want to go into the portal. Sounds good. Sounds good. If that's what you want to do, sounds good. But I'm not going to, as my grandmammy used to say, and she's right here, my meemaw, okay? As my grandma would say, I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. I'm not going to cry over spilled milk because you have recruited so damn good at that position group. I think Weston Davis could legitimately come. I am so high on Weston Davis as a prospect. Like after, and it wasn't even football guys that I watched him play. I legitimately saw him play basketball and said, oh, okay, that's the Texas version of Emory Jones. Maybe more athletic. Guys, you legitimately just got a dude in this class that's a more athletic, in my opinion, a more athletic Emory Jones. The dude literally in a basketball game against a dude that's committed to Arkansas, the dude from Arkansas literally tried to go up for a dunk and he blocks it. He's 6'5". This dude's almost 6'11". He's going up. Get that shit out of here. Get that shit out of here. Standing underneath the goal. Two-handed tomahawk. Bam! Okay. Sounds good, buddy. Not going to cry over spilled milk. Love Lance Hurd. Have always loved Lance Hurd. You want to be a left tackle? You're going to have to wait until Will Campbell leaves. Going to have to wait. And you can love it, hate it, or whatever you want. That's just the truth. Because I know game in, snap out, down in, down out, drive in, drive out. Will Campbell, who, by the way, didn't give up a sack this year. Okay? Guys, Will Campbell did not give up a sack. Now, he let Dallas Turner kill his quarterback on a whiff. Okay? It wasn't a sack. Want to go to Ole Miss, man? Go to Ole Miss. They'll pay you. You know, good luck. You're not ready. There's a reason why you struggled at Mississippi State and got the holding calls. You're not ready. Want to know why Miles Frazier beat him out? He's not ready. If he was ready, Brian Kelly would have played Lance Hurd at right tackle. He would have moved Emory Jones into right guard. It's one thing, guys. They tried to do that. They tried to give him the leeway. He's not ready. Now, in a year from now, can he be ready? 1,000%. 1,000%. And I know that Carter talked to him, and we'll talk to Carter about it. We'll talk to Carter about, hey, what do you think about Lance Hurd? But until then, I'm as Meemaw Jewel used to say, I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. All right. So I'm not going to have a lot of time with this, with Carter, or before Carter gets here. But I'm not going to be able to talk to you until New Year's is over with. Which, by the way, we're going live on Ruffino and Joe Show immediately following the second playoff game on New Year's Day. So you should join us. But LSU does, in fact, play a game before we won't talk to you again until next Tuesday. They're going to play a game in between here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to punt on very quickly my 5 keys to victory. But I will tell you this. Actually, you know what? We could run through this one really quickly, but we're not going to do that because I got Carter Bryant at 7:30. And let's go ahead and get to him. Let's punt that, and we'll do that after he leaves. Let me make sure do we have any super chats? No more super chats? Okay. All right. So let's get to the break. Carter the Power Bryant joins us next. Let's go up to Arkansas, see what's shaking. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. Bayou Daiquiris at Bayou Bowl & Go is owned and operated locally by Steve and Lisa Bean. You can find them at 1512 North Highway 190 in Covington, Louisiana. That's 1512 North Highway 190 in Covington. The North Shore's first crawfish drive-thru is about to step it up another notch by bringing you drive-thru daiquiris as well. You can call in your order today at 985-888-1914, 985-888-1914, because you know what? Daiquiris and crawfish, it's a Louisiana thing. I got the big – so, Carter, you joined us roughly 48 times this year. You've been a guest on the show close to 48 times this year alone. Be the last time of 2023 that will be a guest on the show. Can I ask you a question? What is the best Pop-Tart of them all?
Yeah, I see in the chat that there is you trash strawberry Pop-Tarts.
I'm not a strawberry Pop-Tart guy. If you put me on a Pop-Tart island and said, Blake, you could have one Pop-Tart, I'm going brown sugar and a large glass of milk. I'm literally thinking about, at the end of this show, going to get some stupid brown sugar Pop-Tarts and a big old gallon of milk.
No, strawberry is the goat flavor.
No,
I mean it's the goat. But here's the thing: I've never had a bad Pop-Tart combination. Like
it's true.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the Strooge, man. It is a thing of beauty, man. It is a thing of beauty. And I grew up loving Pop-Tarts. I'm glad they're a sponsor of the bowl. I even ate a Pop-Tart on Twitter to show them
I
love.
saw.
Dude, I freaking love them. So it's working. The play-by-play broadcaster, I know, Manish Shroff, ate his first Pop-Tart on there.
I heard that. I don't believe that. I do
don't
not
either.
believe him. That is a lie.
I have not talked to him in probably 5 years, and I kind of want to
He's
get him
lying.
on here.
A dude with a six-pack says, "Oh, this is my first Pop-Tart." That's a damn lie, dude. I don't believe you. There's no way.
Right.
No way. Brown sugar warmed up. That is the best Pop-Tart. It is the ribeye of Pop-Tarts. Okay.
I can roll with that.
All right. Carter Bryant, LSU Power Hour joins us. You're a guy who interviewed Lance Hurd, and you've spent time around him. You know him well. I'm going to say it like this because before the news broke, I texted you about 4 or 5 hours before it happened, said, "Hey, man, this is going down." And we had some conversation about it before the news was broken. I guess, can you bring back what you and I discussed about him not playing in this bowl game and look, potentially could enter the transfer portal?
Yeah, so I spent a day with Lance, and I wouldn't say I'm close to him, but we did do an interview, and it did make its rounds because it was around that time he had the left tackle comment, right?
Yeah, you got the story on him wanting to be a left tackle. That's right.
So Brian Kelly said the comment, and my interview was the first time that Lance publicly spoke about it. And he said him and Will are friends. There wasn't any beef between them. But that let me know, Blake, that he was dying to play year one. And he is dying to play right now. And he wants to start next season. And there is no guaranteed playing time on an LSU offensive line that's really good. You know, we would like to think that for sure next year, Emory Jones is popping in at right guard and Lance Hurd is playing right tackle. Are we sure about that? I mean, this offensive line, Blake, almost won the highest honor you could receive as an LSU offensive line. They were close, right? And some believe that they should have won. So do you mess with that if Miles Frazier says, "Hey, I want to run it back"? So there is no guaranteed playing time. And something else, Blake, and this is very important to keep in mind. The transfer portal's fewest amount of players on the offensive side of the football are offensive linemen, right? So Lance, he could demand a premium because there's just not many in there, Blake, that has starters experience, that has his raw ability. So there's some market dynamics at play here on his end, if that is what he is seeking. Now, we don't know exactly every last little detail surrounding his situation, but that's at play because if you're a 5-star and you were a all SEC freshman player, you probably want to start next season. And Blake, it's tough for me to think of just at least 7, 8, 9 left tackles in the SEC that are probably better than him right now. So there's a lot moving in this situation.
So let me ask you this. When you sent me this today, when do we get back to accountability? When do we get back to college football where you look at a kid and say, "Hey, man, you got to battle. You got to come to work every day. You know, bring your lunch pail." Like, if this isn't a pure NIL thing, then that's one thing. If it's I want to start and give me my money or else, I don't roll with that. Like, I just don't like. Put your head down. Get Carter. How many shows a week do you do?
I do roughly 3-ish.
Okay, and then you do the SEC Power Hour, correct?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
play a total of 6, 7, 8 shows a week, right?
Right, a lot. Yes.
So I do about the same. So I feel like today's generation. I'm going to go on a get off my lawn rant, but
here we go.
I just feel like that these kids these days don't want to have, like, they weren't raised like us, Carter. He has more ability to come back and be a starter. Like, you can do that. Get to work. I mean, like, so then you're basically, if that's not it, Carter, it's just like, give me what I'm telling you to give me or else. And I don't fly with that.
Yeah, here's what I would say, Blake. If he really wanted to play right away, then maybe LSU wasn't the school, right? You know Will Campbell's there. You know Emory Jones are there. You know those guys are good, and you know they're going to play at least 2 more seasons when you signed on to play at the university. And look, he was a home state kid. He was a 5-star, probably got a pretty good situation to come to LSU, and playing with Will Campbell is probably something that he enjoys. And look, he has every right to enter the portal if he wants to, but he also has the opportunity, Blake, to earn that starter's role. I think LSU likes his upside. I think LSU would like to have the absolute most blue chip talent on the field at one time. I would love to see him be on the field. And look, he's also got to look at himself in the mirror and improve on some of the things that he wasn't that great on this season, right? Was he a really, really, really good backup to starter level offensive tackle this year? Yes, no question about it. But there were some rough reps mixed in there as well, and that's obviously something that he's going to have to work on no matter where he goes. But as of now, I would like to think that he is going to be back on LSU next season. But I also know, once again, I've looked at these numbers. I've looked at people way smarter than me that know transfer portal data. The offensive lineman in the portal, it's just simple math, okay? You got to have 5 offensive linemen on every team. Got to have at least 2 to 3 high-level backups. How many receivers do you need on a team? Well, you need about 3, right? 3 that can go out there and make plays. And there's just more of them. There's more group of 5 level receivers that are able to get to the next level and make plays. Perfect example is Kyron Lacey.
Yeah, 6'6", 350-pound dudes don't fall off on trees. Pause.
Right. So, I mean, he's good enough to start in the SEC. He probably knows that. And he's probably weighing his options right now.
What if he went to Ole Miss?
That would suck. That would obviously really suck. And recruiting is, to me, Blake.
Because they're going to offer him. If he gets in there, they're going to be elite school for him. You know, they're spending all kinds of crazy money in the portal, dude. You know that.
And you're getting him for at least 2 seasons, right? So that's the crazy part about it. So I think he would get a premium. I really, really, really do. And something else is if let's just say he does go somewhere, you want him to go to Colorado. You want him to go somewhere that's not in the SEC and not in your framework, because
he's going to stay in the SEC if he goes somewhere.
Right. I think he will. I feel pretty confident that he will, unless he gets something absolutely ridiculous like Bear Alexander got for USC. So I think recruiting, Blake, in the future with the transfer portal, it's going to become a lot more zero sum, right? I think you're going to see a lot of coaches and a lot of teams not only look for players, they want to look for players on teams that they're going to play, right? I understand that this was a big deal, a big kerfuffle. It's something that I didn't like. It's probably something that you didn't like. But when Trevor Etienne goes from Florida to Georgia, that hurts Florida more so than if he goes to Colorado, right? That's just simple dynamics, right? He goes to a team that's already better than you, and he was one of your better players.
Biggest rival, too.
Right. And that would be the same thing here. And one thing I would say, big picture, as far as Lance Hurd and wherever he might go, what really could hurt LSU is obviously if he goes to another SEC school. But, Blake, this would be the first massive transfer portal loss that LSU has had up to this point. So,
especially under Brian Kelly.
Right. So this, looking big picture, it's not been as bad as other schools, but this would be the first huge one that would greatly cripple LSU.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a money thing, LSU can do it, but at what risk of losing a locker room? So there's so many dynamics to that as well. I don't want to spend our whole time on Lance Hurd.
Yeah.
We talked immediately following the news, though, of on your show. You invited me on, graciously invited me on your show about Mike Denbrock. But now, Carter, that we've had some time for this to sell in, and we know a little bit more, and And even I'll confirm, just like him wanting to be closer to, family and grandkids and all that kind of stuff. Thoughts on Mike Dimrock leaving to go to Notre Dame?
Yeah, he's going to be really good there. He's got a really good quarterback in Riley Leonard. Notre Dame's going to be a really good football team next year. I'm really high on Riley Leonard. That was before any of this. That was before this past season. And that is he got the perfect OC to match what he does really well. He is more of a dual threat. He doesn't have the same speed, of course, as Jaden, but Mike's going to do a really good job there with him. And it sucks, right? Mike was one of the best coaches, period. Head coach, OCDC, in all of football, any level. He really was that good this year. And this is a huge opportunity for Joe Sloan. Look, like the good thing about Joe is he sat in the chair next to Mike Dimrock for every game. So he understands the communication. Cortez Hankton understands the communication. So this is going to be a good dry run for LSU. And hopefully, Joe is a very popular guy. You know him. Obviously, I don't. I want him to knock it out of the park, and I hope he does.
Well, and it makes things simpler if they go out there and put up 50. Right. And you're talking about, okay, well, you've sustained at LSU offensively. It's just defensively you hadn't figured out what you need to figure out. Carter, what's the realistic truth of, because publicly it seems like LSU's got egg on their face, like Brian Kelly's got egg on his face about just because he's going back to where Brian Kelly was the head coach of. Like it publicly it felt like people like pointing at LSU and saying, ha, ha, ha. What's the realistic truth of that? I think it does like we talked about this. I think from a PR standpoint, from a national landscape, yeah, maybe it has egg on the face. But the reality of it is Brian Kelly said that Mike Dimrock came to LSU and he hired him at LSU to run his offense, not Mike Dimrock's offense. And he lets Mike do some things and be creative. But you come here and you call plays here to run Brian Kelly's offense, though.
Right. And it goes back to the recruiting aspect of it not recruiting, but the zero-sum aspect of it. At least Mike's going to Notre Dame, right? At least he's not going
to Texas A&M.
Right, where he knows you, right? And he knows exactly your weaknesses, not only as a play caller, but just you as a coach. There's nobody that knows Brian Kelly better than Mike Dimrock. So, yeah, the PR aspect of it, Blake, it sucks, right? All the trash talking with Notre Dame and their recruiting rankings are about the same as LSU, all that BS. Yeah, of course, that Notre Dame, it's a feather in their cap getting one of BK's guys back to Notre Dame. But the way I understand it, and Blake, you're way more connected than I am, but I've heard this as well, that this was a move closer to home more than anything else, right?
Right.
This is a man who's fit.
Tell it as LSU got outbid. That's not. Come on, Carter. I mean, come on. Like, can the grown-ups come up to the table now? Can we shut up the stupid media? Oh, we gotta Carter. No, they didn't. I have gotten that well sourced. That did not happen. Okay, like shut the fuck up. It didn't happen. Carter, there's so much bad media shit that's out there right now. We're going to talk about one of them in a minute. But like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and look, it's not a gazillion % certainty that Mike is going to have success there, right? I will also say this, towards the end of the season, a lot of what was working for LSU was just Jaden and Malik doing stupid, crazy, uncontrollably crazy, wild things.
Hey, but good on Mike Dimrock to not get in the way of that. We see play callers all the time get in the way of that. Dimrock took his ego out of it and said, hey, Jaden, quarterback draw. He wasn't an idiot, bro. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, and he's really good. But once again, Joe Sloan was in that same chair, and hopefully he continues the tradition of LSU offensive excellence. It's going to be tough, though, right? He's younger. This is a big step up. He probably didn't fully believe that Mike was going to leave LSU, but the perfect opportunity opened up for him, and he's gone. And, Joe, this is your chance, and I can't wait to see what he can do.
All right, I want to talk about Cortez and Joe Sloan. Actually, you know what? Let's do about that now because it'll be in the mixture, both of it. Carter, tell me if you think that I'm wrong here. You do not elevate Cortez Hankton to demote him, right? Like they're going to be co-OCs together. Why would you name him after what he's doing in the receiver room? Why in the good heavens to gracious would you demote him at the end of the bowl game if you're not going to make him and Joe Sloan the co-coordinators? It would make zero sense. It would put him on a hot seat of Cortez wanting to get out of there.
Right. Yeah, I think so. So your main point is you feel pretty comfortable that Joe and Cortez are going to be the
I think they're both going to run it. I think Joe will call plays, right? I think he will call the actual play. I do think that Cortez is going to have a lot of say-so on things. And I got it. So here's what I know for a fact that happened in offensive meetings under Brian Kelly. You know how I know it. I know how I know it. I mean, and you, Carter, you know how I know it. Tim Brock, they would watch film, and Tim Brock would go to each position coach, and mainly Frank, but say, listen, what are you seeing here? What do you think? And he would get input from all the position coaches, Brad Davis, Frank Wilson, Cortez Hankton, Joe Sloan. Okay. Like Joe Sloan would say, hey, I think that Jaden is going to like this week. Okay. So let's run this, let's run this blocking scheme against this block. So on and so forth. I think that's going to be the same thing. And you know who sits in those meetings? Brian Kelly sits in those damn meetings. So they're all going to be in there. I don't think that it is I don't think it's a big of a hit. And I think that giving Cortez that role means that they're both going to have say-so. It's like Elijah Robinson last year was technically a co-DC. Like, he didn't call plays. Durkin was calling plays. He had a lot of input, though. When I say all that, your thoughts to it.
Yeah, I think Cortez's role will increase, and I think he will also stay on the field, as he should. I think everything
He's going to be the on-field coordinator. Let's call him what he is.
And I also think Cortez has head coach aspirations.
I do too.
And so he would prefer to stay on the field because that's, where head coaches are, right? So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, one other thing, Blake, as far as Cortez is concerned, this is going to be the toughest year he's had at LSU, right? Who's going to be the guy? And obviously, it's going to be a huge development period when BTJ and Malik get selected in the first round of the NFL draft.
All right, let's talk about this. So over the last 4 or 5 days, whenever it was, I'm going to continue to call it a rumor because nothing's happened yet. But a rumor hit that Brian Kelly, if Michigan were to open up and Harbaugh goes to the Chargers, Brian Kelly would be interested in going to Michigan. What are your thoughts on it? I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it open-ended. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I've heard it's not Michigan. He's going to coach the 49ers. That's where he's going to go. Kidding.
The Patriots. I heard Brian Kelly wouldn't mind going back to Boston. Like all that. I've seen it all at this point.
Yeah, I don't think Brian Kelly's going anywhere. I think if Harbaugh goes, Sherrone Moore is going to be the head coach at Michigan. It would be a wildly unpopular move to go get Brian Kelly when Moore, a Broyles Award finalist, went undefeated as the head coach of this team. And not only was he a Broyles finalist, Michigan won the offensive line of the year. They were the Joe Moore Award winners in these past couple of seasons. So I think he's going to be the guy if Harbaugh decides to go. I don't understand the benefit of Brian Kelly going to Michigan. I don't understand it. It's a no better than lateral move unless he's like Mike and he wants to just get back into the Midwest. So I think he's going to be LSU's head coach next year, Blake. I find it semi-laughable, but I can also understand Brian Kelly going back to the area of the country that he probably feels most comfortable. But I believe, I know it's not really a hot take because I know you feel this way as well. I think he will be your head coach of the LSU Tigers next year.
I do too. I don't think he's leaving. I mean, I do see that. Is it plausible that he could go somewhere else? Yes.
Yeah.
But good coaches usually could plausibly go somewhere else any given damn time. So I'm not saying Brian Kelly would never leave LSU. I'm never going to say that because he might want, somebody could entice him enough that if he wanted to just try the NFL before he hung everything up, yeah, I could see it. And look, Carter, you have guys like Pete Carroll and Nick Saban who are coaching into their 70s, plus 70s. There's no telling how long Brian Kelly could be here. I think he's 62 now. He could be here for another 10 years and it wouldn't matter. Like, it would just be what it is. Let's get to Wisconsin. Carter, we have, because of the craziness of this offseason, we have not spent a lot of time on talking about Wisconsin, that I think we're overlooking them way too much here. Thoughts on the game going into it?
Obviously, 7-5 team, Luke Fickell, very good coach. Obviously, it would have been interesting to see Luke Fickell and Mike Denbrock go head-to-head. We won't get that, obviously. And for those that don't know, Mike was his OC and whatever at Cincinnati. This is my biggest fear as far as Wisconsin, Blake, is you're not going to have a Purdue situation with them, okay? Purdue last year had no coach and the most opt-outs in all of bowl season. And this year, bowl games, and it's actually something that I'm playing tonight, Arizona versus Oklahoma. I normally like to take first-year head coaches in these bowl games because teams tend to play harder for first-year coaches, right? It's the first year. And I understand Arizona isn't a first-year program under Jed Fish, but this was their first year of being great. This is the first time that they've done anything, right. And Oklahoma's just in the same spot that they were last year in one of these middle-tier bowl games, and they have playoff aspirations. I see the opposite here with Wisconsin, right? First-year head coach. LSU, the shoe's on the other foot. Last year we felt pretty good about being in a bowl game, winning the West and all of that. Once again, this is a lateral bowl movement. So I hope we come in focused. I think this team will be motivated for two reasons. One, motivated to get Malik this record. And number two, motivated for Joe Sloan and Garrett Nussmeier. So LSU does have that going in their favor. But Wisconsin, I think, is going to play hard, and I don't think they're going to get run over. I think it's going to be a competitive game.
I think that we have, Carter, as it stands, let me ask you this question. Do you have any idea what your record's going to be next year with all the question marks that you have on this team? Because the only question mark I do not have is offensive line. It's the only question mark I don't have. Carter, I got to be real with you. I have no idea what this team's about to do. They could come out on offensively, run the ball magically, throw it all around the place. Garrett Nussmeier could look great, okay? And look, I think he's developed better than anybody. I saw Shelton Sampson, Carter, I think I told you this, but saw Shelton Sampson at practice last week. Good God alive, is that kid completely developed during the season. Carter, I had absolutely no idea what to expect from this team. So when you get off of here in just a moment, I'm going to talk about my keys to victory for this game.
Let's go.
And the number one thing, you know what I have written down on this damn sheet of paper? I have no clue. Because there are so many question marks that you have on both sides of the ball. This is a prove-it game to me on both sides. Both sides. Prove that you've gotten better and can be better than what you have been.
One thing I will say, I wanted to make sure I had this correct, Blake. Braylon Allen is not playing for Wisconsin.
The running back.
And I think he is going to be the next Jonathan Taylor in the NFL. I really do think Braylon is a special talent, and he's not playing. So Wisconsin's always got good running backs. I don't really know a whole lot about their backup situation.
Yeah, they're running back that don't do anything in the league.
Wait, what?
They don't really do anything in the league.
Oh, are you think Melvin Gordon did nothing in the NFL?
I mean, he's not like if I talk about like the top 50 backs that have been in the NFL since I've been alive, he doesn't hit the top 100.
No, he hits the top 100.
No, he
Melvin
doesn't.
Gordon. Melvin Gordon clears top
Melvin
100.
Gordon or Pierre Thomas?
Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon had a better career than Pierre Thomas. Nah, that's not who I like better. That's not who I like better. Melvin Gordon had a better career than Pierre. What are we kidding? Are you kidding me? I love Pierre Thomas.
He was never the best back in the NFL ever.
Yeah, okay, that's hard to be the best back in the NFL.
No, it's not.
Melvin Gordon made 2 Pro Bowls, Blake. Melvin Gordon was good. Jonathan Taylor's good. You don't think Jonathan Taylor's good?
I think Jonathan Taylor's really good. Ass. Melvin Gordon was ass.
He is now. He's a practice squad guy.
Can I tell you why?
Why?
He fumbled in week 16 when he was with the Chargers, lost me a damn fantasy football league. He's ass.
I knew there was something brewing. I knew there was a personal beef.
Pure ass.
But to your major point, I do agree with you, Blake. And one thing we did not discuss is at this point in time, there have been no defensive staff changes. Is that to be?
All right.
Is that?
Let's talk about that.
Go ahead.
Before we get you out of here, I will keep it quick. Yeah, I look. I got to be real with you. Brian Kelly can't afford not to.
Yeah, I don't think you could just run it back. I don't.
Bugsy, no. No
something.
way.
Something will change. Once again, I have prodded to try and get some bit of information on.
I think they're going to get a D-line coach and a corner coach, and that's the first moves they're going to make. And they're going to wait for Matt House to get a job in the NFL, and I think he's got a DC lined up, and then he goes and gets him. If it's not Bob Diaco, to be honest with you, I mean, just. And here's another thing too, Carter. We have not. I've said this. There's a high likelihood that you're replacing both coordinators going into next year. That's never good territory to be in when you're replacing a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback and replacing 2 coordinators. You know the last time that happened at LSU, you want to know who the head coach was? Ed Orgeron.
Blake, here's the thing.
It's not easy, but like people think that Saban can I tell you the argument that I hate the most?
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, well, Saban does it. Well, Saban is the best head coach of all time. And I hate saying that. I hate it. But it's the truth.
Yeah. Here's my thing, though. I understand it's hard to get coordinators. I understand because you not only have to get coordinators want to bring their own guys, so you got to replace assistants and then gets into buyouts. It's a really difficult process. But Blake, this is LSU. This is a premier job.
I agree.
This is where defensive coaches want to be. There are over 100 defensive coordinators that are good DCs at different levels of football that would salivate at the opportunity to be the DC at LSU. You're Brian Kelly. You may not be Nick Saban good, but you're one of the best coaches of all time. Go get someone. And they've got to, right? And it's not necessarily, well, we know this guy would take it or this guy will take it. You just got to take that step. You've got to do something to change what was one of the biggest waste we have ever seen in LSU football history. So I hope Brian Kelly makes changes. I would be very shocked if they run it back. I would be even more disappointed if they ran it back more than any other coaching decision they've ever made. And to add one little cherry on top before I skedaddle, because I got to get ready for my show here, Blake, Miller Moss. All right.
Hey. It's not, Carter, that Miller Moss threw 6 touchdowns. It was the way that he did it.
Yes.
It was the way that he did it. I don't care about the 6 touchdowns. I care about the way that he did it. You could go to Vegas next year and get your ass beat.
Yeah. And a lot of those pass catchers are younger guys. So,
yeah, and look, Carter, you know what's going to happen? what I just said to people that's inside this chat are going to roast me for that. But did you watch what happened last night?
No, I watched that full game. He was really good. And part of why I watched it was because LSU was a finalist when he was coming out in 2021. Man, he looked composed. And he also played within the framework of the offense. So that was a spectacular performance.
He ran the system unlike Caleb does. Caleb's his own man. He ran the system, Carter, and they looked the best that they have all year.
Yeah. No
From
question.
top to bottom. They look
No
the best that they have all year. All right. 8:15, correct? That's your show?
Yeah, bud.
All right. Well, I'll be in there. We'll see you there.
How about cheers?
All right. Carter the Power Bryant. Let me do this. I won't spend a lot of time on it. I'll just get right into my 5 keys to victory here. And then we'll call it a night, and then we'll see you in the new year. But look, let's be very quickly on this. So my 5 keys to victory for LSU versus Wisconsin are pretty simple. Number 1, and look, we just talked about it with Carter literally just a second ago. My number 1 thing is I have absolutely no idea what to expect from this team. I don't know what to expect in a full game plate of Garrett Nussmeier. Now, I've seen him in a half, and I've seen him in a half against the national champion where he's thrown for 300 yards in it. And he's got 2 receivers that are first-round picks. Do both of them play the entire game? Does Malik Neighbors get the record and come out and you don't risk him? I do not know that, all right? I don't worry, though, about what you're going to do offensively because I think that you're going to be in good hands in play calling. I think you got a really good offensive line. I think you're facing a team in the Big Ten where they are physical and a really good team that is trying to build something there under Fickle. I don't worry about you offensively because of the dudes that you got. This is a big moment for Garrett Nussmeier. It's the biggest moment of his life. Guys, this is the biggest moment of Garrett Nussmeier's life probably to date. I know he probably played in a couple state championships and big Texas A football. Doesn't matter. This is the biggest platform that he's ever stepped on. The first start that he will have in an LSU uniform. Go take it. But as the only thing that I really worry about, like what I truly worry about is I don't know what defense is going to show up. Now, I will tell you, and this goes into part number 2, can you please build off of what we saw this past week along the defense and the defense that I saw at practice? Guys, last week we came on the show and talked about practice report and what, things that were going on around LSU. And we had Zach Nagy from Sports Illustrated on. I was like, man, did that defense felt like they got their swagger back. You get guys like Ashton Stamps, the freshman who was playing bump and run man-to-man coverage on Brian Thomas, and they looked really good. Can we get a little bit of this swagger back on this defense? Because I know that Wisconsin has some guys not playing. But, man, can we show a pulse? Can we show some fight? If you do that, guys, I think you got back-to-back 10-win seasons. The first 2 years under Brian Kelly, you have 2 10-win seasons, which goes to number 3. I think Brian Kelly really needs this win from a PR standpoint. Now, does he really ultimately and truly need this win? No, not really. But when you have stories like, is BK going to Michigan? Is, Lance Hurd didn't travel to Tampa. Mike Denbrock goes back to Brian Kelly's old school. I think Brian Kelly really needs this one. I think that they can't take this game lightly. Now, I don't think that Brian Kelly really ever shows when he's under pressure or feels under pressure. I think he's as even kill as he comes. We saw that against Alabama 2 years ago when he goes for 2 for the win and he wins it. Like, Brian Kelly does have ice in his veins. Like, don't forget the coach that you have. The dude can freaking coach. And I know a lot of you don't like hearing that. I know a lot of you probably are like, man, he's not cut out for the SEC. Move him along. I'm still in the camp of really believing that this dude's a really strong head coach. We've seen it. Like, we've seen it. As we literally saw him win the West. I think the guy knows what he's doing. So to the point number 3, I think BK needs this win, and why I think he's going to do what he's got to do to have these guys locked in. I think you're beating Wisconsin. I 1,000% believe that you're beating Wisconsin. Because I think that there is a lot of pressure and a lot of things that are building around this program. I just don't think Wisconsin's got the green grass athletes that you do. And I think you're coached well enough to where even if you squeak out, get the 10th win, it's a big program change, not program changer, but you're in a right direction. Back-to-back years of 10 wins. It's a good way to start, is what I'm trying to say. It's a fantastic way to start. Number 4. I'm really intrigued by what Cortez Hankton and Joe Sloan will do, what game plan that they will have set for this game. Because I'm assuming Mike Denbrock had a game plan and he was getting ready for Wisconsin, but I do think that it's changed. I don't know how many alters that they make, not altercations, but alters that they've made in the game plan. But you know what would settle everything down? Like something that you go into the offseason, you go into a year where you're going into Vegas, you're going against USC, you got a 12-team playoff. You know what would calm everything down is, man, it's not necessarily that you're going to take a step back from Jaden Daniels, but make some really damn good play calls. Show that you belong here. Like I guess it goes to number 4. I mean, number 4 goes to number 2 as well, but I just think that you cannot make the moment big enough. I think you're going to have to run the football more than maybe that we are anticipating. You're going to find just how good this offensive line is. I think they're really good. I think you got some really good backs. I think you get them involved. And let's find out what exactly Joe Sloan and Cortez Hankton are made of. Number 5. And the last point. Guys, just be yourself. There's nothing you have to do special. Wisconsin's a good team. They will be inspired. But I think that you can even run out some of the guys when you're too deep offensively and win against this defense. I've watched probably 9 games of them this year. Went and watched every freaking game I could of Wisconsin until I just wanted to vomit. They don't have and even like guys like Shelton Sampson, I don't think they can beat them. And I do think that they're going to play some bump. I hope that they run out here and play bump and run man-to-man coverage. Show me that you got your swagger back. If I'm BK, I'm telling them, listen, man, these are the defenses I want you to run. Tell this to Matt House, these are the defense I want you to run until I tell you otherwise. Would go into I think you would and I would. You feel so much better if you're in back-to-back years where you have 10 wins. So we'll see. All right, let me make sure we ain't got no super chats in this thing. Nope. All right. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. We will see you on Ruffino and Joe show post-game after the playoff games. Until then, y'all have a good night. Peace.